is all about, preparation and planning. And I found this out within the Special Forces world. It wasn't like the Marines where we'd just go and do it. We had a task to do. We would get a task and we'd all the team, not just the officers, not just the seniors, we'd all sit back and plan and prep it. We'd all write, what do you think the best route to target is, for example, or where should we breach this target? And everyone had an opinion. So I think the planning and preparation is key to succeed in any task, because once you've got that foundation there, if something does go wrong, you can always go back and you've always got that foundation to work on, and you can always adapt and adjust on the ground. When the pressure's really on, when lives are dependent and the leader starts to really get angry and starts to snap at people, that is an indication of bad leadership. In extreme pressure, people should be calm and collective, and you should not only take that responsibility on yourself, but you should dish it out to the team. And once they see that you can't deal with the situation, then how do you expect the rest of the teams to deal with it? Everyone has their day or their week where they're like, can't wait for this to be over. But someone that's constantly got something negative to say, then they're either not happy within themselves or they're not happy within the job. So you really have got to, especially in the military world and the Special Forces world, that team needs to be tight. Everyone's a volunteer at the end of the day. If you're not happy in your job, then don't do it. So for me, they must be excluded, or put into a different branch, a different team, or somewhere where they find themselves, basically. So yeah, for me, it's negativity within a team. Constant negativity within a team is a no-go from the off. I think if someone's facing extreme adversity, then they need to be true with themselves and true with whoever they're dealing with. If you're happy and confident with who you are and your capability to deliver, then just be truthful about it. You find a lot of people in the business world, tell you what they want to hear, and that just adds more pressure. And even if it's blatantly truthful, like, listen, this cannot be done. You need to pass it on to someone else rather than take on too much. Do what you know you can do. Be truthful to yourself and truthful to people, and I think that will lighten the burden on businesses and on business leaders. I think any successful business individual fears failure. It's something that I will look fully in the face and take on, with a full heart. And if I fail, I'll get back up again and I'll do it. The more experience that I have in life, now I sort of pick and choose what I'm going to succeed at and because I failed at a lot of things, don't get me wrong, but I've also succeeded at a lot of things, and I now know my field, so I can sort of point myself in a certain direction, know that I can tackle that to the best of my ability. There's an officer that I worked with within the Special Boat Service, and he had actually been a Marine, so he'd been at the bottom of the pile, shall we say. He'd be the first one out with the teams leading it rather than sitting back in the headquarters in the HQ. So, and I believe because he'd been through the ranks, he knew what it's like to be one of the lads. It's not just about nominating or dishing out tasks or dishing out orders. It's about, if you've got a task ahead and obviously you're the leader, you should, it's good to have a second and third opinion, but the first opinion should be your opinion because you're the most experienced. I don't think anyone inspires me in life. I think what I try to do, due to the way that I was brought up, I try to inspire myself to succeed, basically. And that's not only for myself, but it's for my family, because I never had that father role model in my life. So I don't look at other people and think, I want to be them. I look at other people and I think, what can I learn from them? So I want to be the inspiration, not only for myself, but for my kids, so they've got something that I never had. So I learn from other people. I sit back and I observe, but someone who inspires me, I try to inspire myself. The military is obviously, it's real. You make a mistake, you're going to know about it. The pressure's on all the time. You're dealing with lives at the end of the day, not only your life, but the lives of your colleagues. What I like about the TV world is that I can put myself out there to hopefully inspire, younger people, let them know that, that if you put your mind to something and you really believe that you can do it, then you'll be surprised on how much you can achieve.
It's about embracing change. Majority of people they live their life on autopilot, or they live in the void, I call it, where everything around them is changing. The world is constantly changing. Everything around us is constantly changing, whether it's, climate control, whether it's in the way that we think, the way that we're evolving, the way that the world is going, the way that animals are evolving, the way that the sea is encroaching or decreasing, whatever it may be. Everything is changing around us, and we are designed to change with it. So what we're actually doing is we're actually going against the grain when we become complacent, when we get comfortable, when we get into one sort of situation and we stay in that situation. We're working in the opposite way that the world should be evolving. We should be constantly changing. We should be constantly evolving. We should be constantly moving forward. Look at my career. I've gone from the army to the Marines, to the special forces, to the media, to books, to authors, to literacy, to business. It's like, I love change. I love being put in a situation where I'm literally chucked in the deep end with dive boots on and I have to tread water. I love that because it's so challenging and it's so stimulating that you're forced to change. You're forced to think of something different. You're forced to do something differently. You're forced to change the way that you approach something because you've been put in a situation where it's been forced upon you. But when it's not forced upon you, when you get comfortable, then you fall into this void. You fall into this complacency. You fall into not moving along with the world. We're not designed to have cotton wool strapped around us. That's the one thing I've always fall back on, is just knowing, if you're an idiot, if you're irritating people, if you're not a good person. And then ultimately, you're going to get what's coming to you and you probably deserve it. But I know that I'm a good person. I know my foundations. I'm polite. I'm respectful. I don't go out to offend, ever go out to offend. I hate confrontation because of the way that I know that I can deal with confrontation. It frightens me to get into that situation because I know what I'm capable of. Okay, so I don't ever, I'm over polite. I'm over respectful because I think people should be treated like that. Now, I like to be treated like that. I wasn't treated like that when I started off my army career, and I know what it feels like. Okay, and I would never want anyone to experience that. So I'm over polite and I'm over respectful, and I've always fall back on that. I always look at myself in the mirror and I go, Ant, I know I'm a good person, and that are the foundations that I've built. That's my foundations. That's who I am. Okay, so you can knock my bricks down. But guess what? I will keep building and building and building, and you can knock it. Even if you knock them down to the foundations, I can fall back on being true to myself. And there's no more liberating feeling than that, of being true to who you are, going, do you know what? I'm not going to fit into that agenda. I'm not going to fit into that box. I'm not going to squeeze myself in there to make myself feel uncomfortable for your agenda, because that's not who I am. I've got my foundations. I will always build. And this part of the building is so high now that, can you cancel me? Crack on. Because I guarantee you, I just keep building this side, because the people that know me know who I am. And someone said this to me with all the stuff that's been going on lately. And we have the privilege of knowing you. And that rung a chord to me. Though I'm like, they have the privilege of knowing me. And I think to myself, wow, it just goes to show that I'm doing the right thing. And that actually, I'm not going to fit. I'm not going to be comfortable with everyone. I'm not going to be their cup of tea. Well, that's fine. And I remember sitting back and just taking that breath and going, keep doing what you're doing, Ant. You're doing the right thing. I will always go on and do my thing. And that building can completely drop to the foundations. But when you're honest with yourself and you know who you are, those foundations are solid. You will always have something to build from. You will always find something that fits you. Do you know what I mean? If you have the passion and the drive and the ambition and the positivity of knowing who you are, then ultimately the world is your oyster.